and welcome to Fifth Gear.
We've got more cars, more skills, more advice and more presenters than any other car programme on the planet.
Here's what's on tonight's show.
Johnny takes on a US Army survival expert to find out which is best, the latest Jeep or the version from World War II. Vicky reveals which is quickest, an old 911 or a brand new Boxster, while Tiff attempts to set a new world record for the fastest vehicle running on an alternative fuel. Plus, Jason finds out whether MotoGP star James Toseland is as good on four wheels as he is on two.
Right, time now for a car that all of my mates have been itching to find out about.
Now, I reckon this is most probably the best-looking VW they've made over the last 10 years.
I agree. Here it comes.
This is the £21,000 Sirocco, a name from VW's past that's got hidden depths. If you're a VW fan, you'll know it from the sharp-suited coupes of the 70s and 80s. But if you're a proper VW fanatic, you'll know that the name actually derives from a wind.
In fact, it's a warm, moist wind blowing mostly from the southeast, bringing high temperatures and high humidity. I think it's fair to say in North Wales we're likely only to see the four-wheeled variety. Also, I'm no cultural barometer. I like stupid T-shirts with equally stupid slogans and combat trousers. But I think it's fair to say this is the coolest VW for 20 years.
Pillarless doors, flat haunches, slitty windows and the type of face we're not used to seeing on VWs. It's brooding and moody. No matter where you buy your stupid T-shirts, it's obvious the Sirocco is making its point in style. I could sit on the beach all day gazing at it, but I'm just a light gust away from some of the best roads in Wales, so I'm going to use them. Underneath all the sexy metalwork, the Sirocco has a lot of Golf GTI DNA, but with one major addition that, well, kind of helps harness the wind.
Now I'm talking about ACC, or Adaptive Chassis Control. Now steering feel, throttle response and the damping are all modified when you flick between comfort, normal and sport. Comfort might as well be called loose because it just makes the Sirocco feel like it's wearing shoes slightly too big for it. Best left for motorway or town work. Normal I refuse to press because who wants to be normal, and mainly because sport is where the Sirocco feels at its best. Yup, okay. The steering's better, the throttle response is much better, and the body control is almost total. Now, I've driven this car over loads of different roads now, and I've got to say that even though it's not the last word in feel when you're going quick, it really wants to look after you. It's a really good, fun car to drive at moderate speeds. I'm really enjoyed being in it. Thing is, it's noticeably better, noticeably 25% better than a Golf GTI. That's high praise. The only possible downsides come from the boringly practical bits. OK, so it's got this wicked flat-bottom steering wheel and these beautiful retro-ribbed seats, but the rest of the dash just feels not quite as striking as the outside, like it's been nicked from various bits of the VW parts bin. Also, the view through the rearview mirror is of just two headrests from those really cool back seats, and the boot is tiny compared to the stock Golf. But really, who gives a stuff? With this optional DSG gearbox, when you change up, listen, it just pops. You're not going to get bored of that in a hurry.
Its 197 brake horsepower 2-litre turbo gets it to 62 in 7.1 seconds, which all helps it to do something not many Volkswagens actually do. It makes driving a proper giggle. So my inner child couldn't resist heading back to the seaside for some more fun and games, because I've got a bit of a race planned against this. That bloke strapped to the industrial blender is called Mykel Hawke, who just happens to be the British paramotoring champion.
Mykel reckons that when it comes to wind power, he's the fastest. But I actually think that the Volkswagen warm wind from the southeast that bears a little moisture can teach him a right old lesson
All we've got to do is a lap and a half of our little track here to see who's quicker. It's a battle of the winds. The Sirocco versus Mother Nature. Oh yeah, and Michel's great big fan.
He may be good, but with 14.5 brake horsepower and a 0 to 62 time of whatever the wind decides, he'll struggle. Right, he's ready. Here we go, 3, 2, 1, go! Ah! See, no grip. I just can't get the power down. It's just the wheels are spinning everywhere, and then I can't switch the ESP off. Give it a bit of handbrake. Oh, come on! I can't get the grip. Come on! Whoa! God, that was a bit close. Whoa! Come on, Sirocco! I can beat it. God, he's close. He's really good on the turns. Change up. We'll get the grip. Too much wheel spin. Come on, we can beat him. Battle of the Winds. I've never had wind like this. I think I'm going to win. I've got him.
Right, hang on a minute, Tom. Surely Volkswagen have shot themselves in the foot. Why now would anyone rush out and buy a Golf GTI? With the Scirocco, you get a prettier car, and for an extra 90 quid, you get a higher spec car.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you with regards to the 3-door Golf GTI, but I still think there's a place for the 5-door, because if you think about it, you still get all of the image and everything, but you get a bigger back, you know, there's more space in the back, you get more doors, you get a more practical hatchback. But as far as the 3-door Golf GTI goes, I reckon it's now actually obsolete. You'd be an absolute fool to buy one.
Well, you heard the man. That's it for this part. Here's what's coming up after the break.
MotoGP star James Toseland has fun in the new Aston Martin V8 Vantage, and Johnny gets into deep water with a real-life G.I. Joe.
Welcome back to Fifth Gear.
Right, up next, it's time for the part of the show we like to call It's New, but Is It Any Good? Basically, we take a look at everyday practical cars and work out whether or not you should think about buying one.
Now, Hyundai has just launched a car called the i800, and they reckon it can carry 8 people and their luggage. What do you reckon its biggest competition is going to be?
Definitely the Chrysler Grand Voyager.
Yeah, now, even though the Chrysler's only got 7 seats, every pop star in the world seems to be carrying around their entourage and their stupid little dogs in one. So this Hyundai better be something special.
The Chrysler Grand Voyager, for people whose breeding rituals would make a rabbit wince. It starts at £26,000, so each of its 7 seats cost you £3,700.
Which means this work of art is already one step ahead of the game. You see, it can fit an additional extra child in. 8 seats, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
The i800 costs £19,500, so each seat costs £2,400. Ideal for randy parents who have a firm eye on costs. But the question is, which car is easiest to load up with the family and handles the best once laden?
I'm a dad who's just had a heavy night of bottle feeding and procreation, and I've got up early to do the school run. And here are my beautiful children. All I've got to do now is get all of them into the car, take them to school, take them out again. Let's start the clock.
The Chrysler benefits from a very flexible smart seating system that's cleverer than the Hyundai's. But there is one obvious drawback.
I haven't actually got enough room for you. Sorry, darling.
Time for a quick pretend school run, where the Chrysler feels plush and refined.
Oi, Maris, pipe down.
The 2.8-litre diesel engine will average about 30 miles to the gallon. And as for performance, well, yeah, it does have some, but not that much.
Here we go. We're at school. There you go. Oh, stop the clock.
This unscientific test sends a benchmark time of 3.5 minutes. Time for the Hyundai.
Last one. On first impressions, the Voyager's a more comfortable vehicle for passengers, but perhaps the i800 is the better one for actually going around corners. So if you want to get your kids somewhere in a hurry and potentially give them seasickness, this is the one for you. How's everyone doing? Can't beat having mute children. It's brilliant.
The Hyundai feels just as slow as the Chrysler, but it does manage to average a slightly better 33 mpg.
OK, nearly there. We're nearly at the fake school. Here we go. Stop the clock.
The time, an almost identical 3 minutes 20 seconds. But of course, 8 seats meant that little King Edward didn't get left behind.
Ultimately, it's a battle between value for money and practicality versus luxury. The Voyager is a superior tool for airport runs, for businessmen, and for celebrities like Brian Harvey, who seek plusher surroundings, more toys, and something they can get in and out of easily when they're really drunk. But for the family guy who just wants a humble kiddie shifter, the i800 is the perfect workhorse.
Next up, Tim's going to wave his arms, point his fingers and get some answers for us motorists.
Right, now have you ever been called out of the blue when you've got your car for sale by somebody saying, "We'll help you sell your car"? Well, I don't know about you, but that makes me naturally suspicious. But could it actually help us out? Well, I went to find out.
I absolutely hate selling cars. It does my head in. Potential buyers turn up, they undermine you completely by telling you the car's riddled with scratches, has it had a smash, it's the wrong colour, they walk around shaking their head all the time, and then they offer you exactly half the money you've got it up for. What you don't expect is calls out of the blue from nice, friendly people who all just happen to have lines and lines of potential buyers who, guess what, are itching to buy your car. But increasingly, that's exactly what's happening. As soon as you advertise your car for sale, cold callers or canvassers contact you, offering to help sell your car for a fixed fee. According to the biggest online car site, Auto Trader, in many cases, the promised buyers never materialised. I visited Matt Thompson from Auto Trader to find out how many canvassers are operating.
We were aware of 140 of them back in 2007. There's some 2,000 now.
Right, so it's growing. It's huge.
Yes.
Do you think there's any part of these people that do this that actually genuinely trying to help you sell your car?
Not looking at the evidence that we've got. We haven't come across a lot of calls from customers saying how good the experience has been, how this has helped them sell their car.
Unsurprisingly, Auto Trader have now started a scheme to try and combat the problem, the so-called telesafe system, where they only forward you the calls of legitimate buyers.
It's basically just a clever way of filtering out the canvassers. It's great if you're selling a car because you don't have to pay for it at all, but then on the other hand, if you're a buyer, you do have to pay a little extra surcharge on top of the cost of the call.
Now, we wanted to see for ourselves exactly what happens if you start dealing with one of these canvassers. So we put a guinea pig Alfa Romeo 156 up for sale and waited to see if a canvasser got in touch. Sure enough, the very next day we were contacted by a canvasser.
Hang on, got a text. Oh, I like that. It's a cold text, not a cold call.
It was from a company that claimed to match a buyer to a seller every 15 seconds. They wanted a one-off fee of £70 to advertise the car on over 100 websites until it was sold.
One fee until the car is sold, which is basically true, but there is a clause in the small print that says after 28 days, they will actually take the advert down, and it's up to you to ring them up to get the advert placed back on the internet.
But I could live with that, particularly when I heard about one of their special offers.
I said to them, look, what about if it doesn't sell within the first week? They said to me, well, if that's the case, we will send you away on a free weekend's break.
Yes!
Although the T's and C's revealed it wasn't totally free. You have to pay for breakfast and dinner, and that can be up to £100 for a couple each day. I had a look at the sort of sites the car was being advertised on. There were certainly a lot, but I'm not sure how many people would visit Slow Caravan, Mopeds Today, or Oily Parts looking for an Alfa for sale. After 7 days, I still hadn't had one call from a potential buyer, so I got on the phone and asked the canvassers for their thoughts.
Right, my details have been sent to 36 people. Why is my car not sold? Sorry? Oh, the mileage is quite high, so it's my fault. Is there anything you can do to please help me sell this car? I need the money. I'm desperate. Well, if you could put it on the fast sale option, that would be amazing.
The fast sale option meant they'd asked dealers to make an offer for my car, and I was told to expect around £1,000. But I'm still waiting.
Now, here's the thing. Phoning you up after you've published your number on a car trading website isn't illegal. And although the canvasser's call may seem really inviting, I personally don't think we got good value for money at all. In fact, my best advice would be to put on your car advert strictly no canvassers at all. It won't stop them all, but it should help. Right, now there is obviously a good reason we have this exquisite, newly tweaked Aston Martin Vantage V8 here in the studio. And unfortunately, it's not just because I want you to believe it's mine.
No. Now, you might know MotoGP rider James Toseland as a virtuoso piano-playing housewife's choice at the Sports Personality of the Year Awards, or maybe as a MotoGP rider.
And we were rather interested to find out just how fast James could go in a car.
And we thought this Aston would make the perfect laboratory.
When James raced Tiff a while back, we could see just how good he was on a bike. He reckons he's fast because he's brave. Personally, I think the bloke's off his box, and I'm dreading sitting in a car with him.
You're not right, are you? You're just all wired up wrong, you bike lads.
It was freezing that day.
Dangerous.
It was that day with Tiff behind me that close.
So, cars. You obviously like cars. What have you got? What do you want? What's your dream car?
Current car is an Aston Martin 159 diesel.
An Aston Martin 159?
Yeah, Aston Martin gave me a deal, yeah.
Yeah. So you got an Alfa then?
Sorry, I said Aston Martin. I can't wait to get in it, you see. I'm that keen to get in it.
And that's also your dream car then, this thing?
We started by finding out exactly what do you get for your 85 grand.
Oh, that's a trick, actually. Is it just a pair?
It's just some lippy.
Doesn't it, like, shoot you, or... It must do something trick. Where's the pad for it? Way up. What's that? That's not an ashtray.
It's a nice little crystal ashtray. Smart.
Once we'd checked out the car's accoutrements, it was time for James to learn how to drive his dream car quickly and safely on a track. We began with an assessment of his raw talent, which, safe to say, was a bit nerve-wracking.
Do you normally ride a bike with one hand?
I'm making you nervous already.
OK, Mr. Towson, that's the assessment is there. I've made a few notes. We'll talk about those in a moment.
We've got a long list there.
If you'd like to take me back to the pit area, I just need to go to the loo.
James lapped in 1 minute 43, and to make him faster, it was a case of changing his bike riding habits.
Back of the corner.
To take advantage of the car's extra grip, I told him to brake a lot harder and turn into the corners much later. Just those 2 hints had an instant effect.
Right then. We stop here. And now, unbeknownst to you, I put the stopwatch on that. What, you did 1:43 last time out. What do you reckon?
Well, I'd be happy if I beat the 140, because I think you said I could keep the car if I brought the 140.
Absolutely, 140. Go on, what do you reckon?
I think I've knocked about 3 or 4 seconds off.
1 minute 30.
1 minute 30?
Yeah,
and that was
13
genuine?
seconds. Absolutely genuine.
Well, I wasn't even pushing any harder.
Bit of technique.
That's
Mate, proper stuff.
13
really good
seconds.
Run.
Can you come on the back of the bike with me?
No way.
If you could shave me another 13 seconds off at MotoGP, I'll be all right.
Mate, rock and roll. Perfect. That is worthy of a brew.
And a sandwich?
Yeah.
Are you going to have another cake?
Sadly, there was no time for cake, because it was straight on to James's advanced lesson in how to drift this 420 horsepower Aston, which meant first giving him a demonstration. And as it turns out, these biker boys are not as brave as you think.
Get in, you little stinker.
Far too fast.
Can you see a difference in kind of...
I can't open my eyes.
Right, let's see if we can get a bit of tail out action up here.
Okay, right, so
she'll go.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit there.
Yes, improving. Like it a lot. I'm loving it.
There's a difference though, isn't there? In terms of
Not much.
corner entry.
Not much of a difference.
Right, James's turn to try and drift.
So, accelerate the corner, quite a late turn in, little squeeze the brakes, and then open the tap. Open the tap.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. It's that first catch is the crucial bit.
Got it.
So, on the brakes, hard in, power. For that manoeuvre, I give you 2 out of 10. It's actually a bit more difficult when you're going slow.
When you've got no talent.
Well,
it's like learning to wheelie a motorbike.
yeah.
To get that balance point on the wheelie to keep it up there.
Yeah.
You know, where everybody kind of goes, whoop. You know, like I did there, went, whoop, that's like a crap wheelie where you just get it up and it goes straight back down again.
That's the sort of stuff I do.
And when I spin completely, that's like going over the bike and doing
I've
too
never
much
done
there.
that.
You don't want to do that.
No. Stop you. Stop. So,
the face on him.
You've got 3 more goes, I think.
3?
Yeah, 3 more to kind of get it right.
Okay, right.
So, I have a bit of a thing. I think you might get it.
You do realise if I don't, I'm going to have to buy the car and stay here and buy the track. So
Mate, it's never been raced, rallied. Warn a careful owner.
I'm still it. Oh my God. Just send me home.
In power. Nearly. See how you started to take your hand off the wheel?
Yeah.
But that was there then, you had that.
Yeah. Well, that was the best one yet.
Yeah, that was the best one yet. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Slide,
yeah,
but just not too much. One more get.
So in. Fab. Right, mate. Let's call it a day there. That was great. That was bang on.
Do you know what? Jason said he absolutely loved this car.
Well, yeah, too right.
He said it was really surprising on the track. Have to say, I agree with him. With this new 4.7, it's really, really good.
It's like a completely different character, isn't it?
Yeah, well, where the old car used to make a lot of noise and not actually be that fast, this one's definitely got the mouth to match the trousers.
Let me show you the absolute coolest thing in this car. Step inside, right? Centre console, plug your iPod in, and look what it does. Yes! Aston Martin.
Right,
wicked.
That's the best thing you can say about this £85,000 Aston Martin.
Do you know what? Absolutely. I love it.
Chav.
Still to come, Jonny challenges a green beret at extreme off-roading, and Tiff tries to set a new world record.
Right, time now for a little bit of off-road action. Jeep has just released an all-new Wrangler, the point of which is to be a bit, I don't know, roughy-tufty off-road, which happens to be exactly the same point as the original car that ferried people around in World War II. The big question is the new improved version actually any better than that brilliant original?
At the beginning of World War II, the US Army challenged people to design a new vehicle for battle. It had to be four-wheel drive, light, and able to carry 4 soldiers. The iconic WWII Jeep was the winning design.
And here's how it looks today. Now, obviously, its driver was clearly pretty good at dodging bullets. Can't see any holes or blood. Now, some 5 decades later, and a few nasty bouts of war, this is what the brand new Wrangler looks like. Kind of the same.
OK, so you get doors instead of rope, and an airbag to cushion a crash, instead of a steering column through the heart. But look, angular edges, vertical slats on the grille, and exposed hinges everywhere. To find out if the new one represents 60 years of progress, I'm going to challenge Mykel Hawke. That's Mike with a Y and Hawke with an E, by the way. He served in the US Special Forces for 25 years and has driven loads of Jeeps.
Hello, Mike.
Johnny, howdy.
Hi, I think today you're going to make me look a bit rubbish.
I doubt it, my man. I break them. You're the one who drives them.
Tell me, what's the most extreme thing you've ever done off-road?
It have to be 1999, Sierra Leone. We were coming up on a rebel roadblock, and we had to turn off the lights and go off-road to avoid getting shot.
OK, that's quite extreme. I've never done anything like that before. But let's go off-roading. You ready?
Let's go hot.
An important aspect of any hard-working Jeep is the fold-flat windscreen. During the war, soldiers used to fold it down to carry their injured away from the fighting on a stretcher. The new one folds down just the same, so the first challenge is to see who can get their screen down the fastest.
OK, this should be really quick and simple. It's an emergency situation. We need to take the roof off and the window down. Let's go to it. I'll have the new one, Mike. You take the old one. Go. Go, go, go.
Since the war, crash test regulations have got a bit more strict.
This is the first Wrangler model to feature Velcro as well as zips.
Whereas the old one was good at making sure the right people were getting dead, the new one is all about making sure people stay alive.
It's not very good for my non-special forces fingers. Hang on, Mike.
For £19,000, the new Wrangler includes full metal doors, ESP, ABS, 4 disc brakes and electric windows.
The window.
But those features weren't really helping me with this mission. Lantern-jawed Mike with eagle eyes had already finished.
Need a hand over there? I'm gonna take a nap over here, man.
All right, I've lost this. I throw the towel in.
Challenge 2, to see who can get furthest up this hill. Even for a real-life action man, that's daunting.
OK, there you go. That there is a 1-in-1 incline, Mike. This is the 5th gear test base. I don't know about you, but I'm actually quite scared because that is a severe climb.
That hill is definitely not right.
I volunteered Mike with a Y to go first in his Willie Jeep, with its 2.2-litre, 60-horsepower petrol engine.
God damn it. If I say I will do it, I will do it.
OK, let's go. First gear, no more. I just really don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to do the 1-in-1.
The Willis climbed 20 feet, and I have to admit to being scared that we were going to topple backwards. The front end went very light. My turn next in the Wrangler with its 2.8-litre, 174-horse diesel.
Okay, all right, man, let's just get right up to the camera, Dave.
You got the heating on.
Yeah, man. Good for you. I want you to sweat. Hell yeah. Let's give her some juice. Yeah. All right. Whoa. Yeah.
Thanks to Mike's unique encouragement, this was a victory for modern technology over antiques, by a good half a car length.
Ain't nothing worse than looking at the top and slipping away.
So, it's one apiece and time for the final test. This is the one that could save our lives. Which car works best in a flood?
OK, so don't miss a gear. It's full crash gearbox. Oh my God! I can't. Well, there's holes in the floor. Oh my goodness! We've got water coming over the bonnet.
Fair play. The war wagon didn't bat an eyelid. Time for the brand new Wrangler.
Absolutely swimming. So right, imagine this is your Wrangler. You've bought a new Wrangler. You can use.
All right. I wouldn't want it for cruising around town, but man, if you're going to play out in the woods, this would be a way to go.
Yeah.
With less leakage, I think we have to declare the Wrangler the winner. It might not look that different from its granddad, but it's a perfectly decent modern rock crawler. It won't tempt Toyota RAV4 or Ford Cougar drivers, but for less than 20 grand for a vaguely economic diesel version, it's a worthy alternative to the Land Rover Defender.
Right, now during the war there were actually 600,000 of these things made. Demand was so high due to the war effort that Ford came along to save the day and helped them out by making a few.
Yeah, it's a bit different these days though, Tim, because Jeep are actually only planning to sell about 1,000 of these Wranglers in the UK. But get this, it's a great fact. They've actually built a very basic semi-military version, but because it doesn't pass emissions regulations, it's not available in the States.
Hang on a minute, so what you're saying is the US government are actually bothered about the environment?
It seems so.
Here's a quick reminder for the Fifth Gear website, which is well worth checking out at the end of the show. There simply isn't time to cover every new car that's launched in the programme, but the website road tests all the latest metal and is updated daily. Check it out at 5.tv/Fifth Gear.
OK, it's time to talk Porsche.
Now, ever since Porsche released the Boxster, it has come under its fair share of criticism, not least being referred to, and I'll admit to calling it this myself, the poor man's 911.
But do you know what? They're fighting back. They've got a limited edition top-spec Boxster. It's called the RS60 Spider, of which only 1,960 will be made.
So, just how good is it? Well, we sent Vicky out onto the handling circuit here to find out. Time now for a bit of Porsche on Porsche shootout action.
The Boxster RS60 Spider has 303 brake horsepower, gets to 62 in 5.4 seconds and has a top speed of 170 miles an hour. It's about as good as mid-engine sports cars get, but today it faces a tough challenge. This is a Porsche 911 Carrera 2 from 1997. Next to the Boxster, the specs make for a compelling shootout between mid-engined New Boy and rear-engined Master. Both use 3.4-litre engines and both have almost identical power, weight, top speeds and 0 to 62 times. The biggest thing separating these cars is the decade between them being made. So, which will be quickest round our track? We'll start with the 911.
Most of this car's weight is at the back. I do know some people who put bags of cement in the nose of the car just to balance things out, but if you can't lay your hands on that, you just have to keep your wits about you. The steering is just wonderful, really direct, no slack whatsoever. The chassis is firm and taut and I can feel every single minute bump on this track. This car may be 10 years old, but the brakes are still fresh. So it is time for a quick lap. Through the first little right-hander, as flat as I possibly can be. Wonderful strength, mid-range grunt. Down to second. Oh, a little bit frisky over the top of that blind brow grab third.
And the 911 crosses the line in 44.9 seconds. Time for the Boxster.
This car only has 8 brake horsepower more than the standard Boxster S, proving that it is rather difficult to improve much on perfection. It's a little heavier than the 911, but it feels more agile, more chuckable. Helping to slow this car are £5,000 worth of ceramic composite brakes. Then, of course, there's the Porsche Active Suspension Management, which, at the flick of a button, makes the exhaust really loud and the suspension really firm. And that is what I want for my fast lap.
I've got 44.9 seconds to beat. Start the clock.
So into the second corner, I'm going to go full second gear, up on the rev, 6,000, 7,000 RPM.
At the first split, the Boxster is trailing by 0.2 of a second.
About 85 miles an hour. I'll break down to second for this medium right-hander, just on the edge of grip there.
By the second split, the gap has grown to 0.3.
Coming in now to the finish line.
And the Boxster crosses the line in 45.2 seconds, 0.3 slower than the 911.
That's got to keep 911 owners happy everywhere. Now, here's the thing. That Boxster that Vicky was driving, like, all specced up, is now £56,000 in the shops, which is exactly the same price as this 911 when it was new.
Now, because it won the shootout, and I can't quite believe that I'm saying this, we're going to give this away as this week's competition prize. A Porsche 911. We must be mental.
It's a superb 1997 911 Carrera 2 and will be fully fettled by a specialist before we deliver it to you. We're not just giving away the car either, but up to £1,000 towards your insurance and £1,000's worth of fuel. It doesn't stop there. We're also chucking in a Smartbox Adrenaline package, entitling you to laps of a racetrack in a Lamborghini or Aston Martin, a Navman S70 sat-nav, a PlayStation 3, and Gran Turismo and Ferrari Challenge driving games, and a big telly to play them on. And if that wasn't enough, courtesy of CAT Driver Training, we're also giving away a performance driver course based here at the exclusive high-speed test tracks at Fifth Gear headquarters. 10 runners-up will each receive a Fifth Gear Supercars DVD. For your chance to win this massive prize bundle, just answer the following question correctly. Tom Cruise played a NASCAR driver in which film? A. Top Gun, B. Risky Business, or C. Days of Thunder? To enter, call 0904 1626 555 or text GEAR plus A, B or C to 63555. Calls cost £1.50 from a BT landline. Calls from other networks may vary, and from mobiles will cost considerably more. Texts cost £1.50 plus one message at standard network rate. Lines close at midday on Monday the 22nd of September. The winner will be advertised on the 5 website. Still to come, Tiff trying to set a world record.
Now, with a tank of fuel costing more than your average house in Macclesfield, we're all obviously going to be interested in alternative fuels that are cheaper, particularly if they make your car go quicker.
So get ready for a land speed record with a difference.
It may not look much, but this is a special day at the Santa Pod drag strip. And while the crowds could be classed as, well, minimal, today actually represents the leading edge of alternative fuel research. All
all shapes and sizes have gathered to battle it out over the quarter-mile drag strip, trying to become the first ever fastest alternative fuel vehicle, ranging from £100 conversions done at home to more sophisticated electronic modifications. Nothing here runs on straight petrol or diesel.
I'm going to be trying my luck in this, the experimental Lotus Exige 270e Tri-Fuel, a carbon-friendly car that can out-accelerate a Ferrari F430. More of that later. Right now, I think I ought to check out the opposition.
These are brothers Sam and Oliver Young and their electric Beetle, Black Currant.
We had a Beetle that we didn't have an engine for, and we found an electric milk float, and we slapped the engine out of the milk float into the Beetle and made
just because that was there. That was there. And so you thought you put them together.
Yeah.
How much did this cost you?
Well, we reckon it's probably something about 10 grand over the years. We keep adding to it. And
what problems have you had then? And what's been the main holding you back?
The main problem is getting all the power down, getting the traction.
It's got so much power.
Yeah. So much power. Yeah. We snapped our original drive shaft.
We snapped the drive shaft with an electric engine.
Sheared them in the middle. Yeah.
But now they have stronger drive shafts to cope with the power. We looked on expectantly to see what sort of time we'd have to beat. The crowd could barely contain their excitement. A time of 15.9 seconds at a speed of 81 miles an hour might be impressive for a milk float, but it's safe to say electric is not the future of going fast, and it didn't impress the VIP. Nor is chip fat the future. It's fantastic to see a whole fleet of vehicles here used by people who've taken a leaf out of our book and run their cars on waste oil from their local chippies. But although it's dirt cheap, it's not really refined enough to boost performance.
Smells of chips.
Nor was I worried by the racing trucks running on biodiesel. Impressive as it is watching a 1,000 horsepower engine powered by sunflower seeds doing the quarter mile in 14.2 seconds. Although, when you can actually see the carbon footprint, you have to wonder if alternative fuels are all they're cracked up to be. But there was one more rival, Bike Magazine's Fast Fruit project, a Triumph Daytona that runs on apples.
So, Rupert, whose idea was it to make ethanol out of apples?
Ethanol out of apples, yeah.
Right.
It was my idea, actually, Tiff, yes.
And who's making it for you?
I got some A-level chemistry students to do it for me. I had a go doing it myself, but it was too difficult. They've been spent the last 4 months making 2.5 litres of bioethanol.
Out of how many apples?
Probably about 2,500 apples. I think it's about one apple every 3 feet.
And of course, the great thing about ethanol is the bike is faster on ethanol than petrol.
It is faster. From tick over upwards, it's giving more power, and it particularly feels in the mid-range. So when you ride the bike, it just feels fat and smooth and friendly and...
Smells nice, does it?
Fruity? It smells bloody awful, actually, yeah.
In fact... I thought the apple might smell nice.
Well, by the time you distilled it 3 times, the apple's aroma's gone, really, and it smells pretty ordinary.
You don't see this, though, as the future, really? Apple orchards producing...
No, I don't think so. The energy we put into the distilling and fermenting process is probably about 1,000 times more than the energy we're getting out. So, yeah, it's probably not a very viable way of making fuel.
I had a suspicion that this would set the quickest run of the day so far. And it did. 11.2 seconds and 126 miles an hour. Right then, it's my turn. We've tested a bioethanol Exige before, but this is the next development. If you're worried by all the CO2 in the world, then this really could be the answer. Because the 270e can run on methanol created from carbon dioxide that's sucked straight out of the atmosphere and mixed with hydrogen that's extracted from water. It's a revolutionary idea and means the Exige uses up what it puts out.
Now, there doesn't need to be any real modifications to the 1.8-litre supercharged Toyota engine sitting right behind me. They just muck around with the fuel injection nozzles and the engine mapping or something. Otherwise, you can just put in petrol, bioethanol or methanol. And with methanol, this is now the most powerful Lotus Exige ever made, with 270 horsepower that launches it to 62 in just 3.8 seconds and a top speed of 158 miles an hour. Of Question is, will that be enough?
This is it. My attempt at becoming a world record holder.
Oh, bit of tramp. Bit of clutch slip there. Just a bit of...
12.91 seconds at 107 miles an hour.
Just a little bit of lag on the pickup. The engine feels really good when you've got the throttle wide open. Every time you change it up, it's a little bit of a hole before it just gets going again. I'm not sure whether that's the clutch me or methanol.
I hadn't beaten the bike, but I'd still set the record for the fastest alternative-fuelled, road-legal car over the quarter mile. Now that's my kind of tree-hugging.
Tiff, we salute you. And on that record-breaking note, it's the end of the show.
Here's what's on next week's Fifth Gear. We'll see you here at 8.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Tiff and Vicky get bruised bums and egos in a dirt bike challenge. And Ricky Hatton thanks us for helping him get an MOT.
Here's a reminder of our amazing competition to win a fabulous 1997 Porsche 911, £1,000 towards your insurance and £1,000 worth of fuel, a Smartbox Adrenaline supercar experience, a Navman S70 sat-nav, a TV, a PlayStation 3 and some driving games, and, courtesy of CAT driver training, a high-speed driver course based at the exclusive Fifth Gear playground. To enter, call 0904 1626 555 or text GEAR plus A, B or C to 63555. Calls cost £1.50 from a BT landline. Calls from other networks may vary and from mobiles will cost considerably more. Text cost £1.50 plus one message at standard network rate. Lines close at midday on Monday the 22nd of September. All the details will be on the Fifth Gear website, 5.tv/Fifth Gear.